goodbye to 2023. Thank you to everyone for listening to Tom and me. 'Tis time for a pint and some crack because it's the Banana Bears Rugby Pod. Woo! Go!
We made it. Oh my God, this is surreal. Annika, please.
I know, you're real.
I'm real, you're real.
I'm real.
This is, you're joining us on a very, very special episode, extremely special episode, because believe it or not, and people won't believe it or not, because I spoke to somebody the other day who's a big fan of the podcast, and he didn't believe it. This is our first time meeting in real life.
We've talked about this so much times. We need to do a touring. We keep picking out pubs that we need to go and do an episode in.
Well, now we're technically doing an episode here. This is the groundwork we're doing.
This is it. This is the first one.
So yeah, look, we're going to definitely do. Is it Derry Murphy's here, and there'll be possibly a Dublin date and a Limerick date. But now we had this is the first step.
I know.
This is the first step.
We've spoken about it for a year now.
We couldn't possibly have engaged in it without actually meeting each other first. Imagine that the first time we met, 200 people to see us live, and we're like.
And actually, I think they would have enjoyed it.
Do you know what? That'd be the most unique selling point of a podcast.
But sure, we can't do it now because we've already met.
We've never done a live podcast, and it'd be only our second or third time meeting. So
that'd be hilarious. It'd be like Tommy Tiernan's gig where he brings people on they've never met.
Yeah. Yay! Oh yeah.
You're a lot smaller than you look on your podcast.
You mean when I'm sitting down on a giant screen? I know.
Yeah.
So
I feel like the viewers would have enjoyed that. They'd be like, she thought he was taller.
But you know what? I think as a spatially awareness, I think we'll work out quite well, because if I was a giant or you were a giant, it'd look like one of us brought the other person as a child or something like that. I think because we're roughly about, in around, you're probably taller even than me, but at least we're thereabouts. For cameras and people's eyes, sometimes I've seen it when you've got this giant person and this little person are like,
no.
I don't know which is working for who.
When we get on the red carpet now, we'll be evenly matched. Even though, do you know what I always do? And I'd be giving out to my friends for not reminding me. Every time we take a picture, I stand closest to the camera. And I'm one of the biggest out of all my friends. And I just look like a giant, and all my friends look. I keep doing it. And I look at the picture, and everyone's like, oh. And I'm just like, why did I do it again? I just go to the side and I lean in. And then I'm just like,
Who
giant.
taught people the lean in thing? When did that happen?
I don't know. I think I was trying to make myself look skinny by turning to the side.
Yeah, but you're not fat. So what skinny do you need? Do you know what I mean?
Depends on the time of year. I.e. group photos right about now are side on.
Everybody should be blown out a small bit.
100%. Do you know what? This is the first Christmas, maybe last year might have been, that I didn't, and I remarked it on Christmas morning. I was just having a moment to myself, having my breakfast on Christmas morning, that I didn't go up to Mallow Rugby Club and do a conditioning session on Christmas morning. And it is the grimmest session of the year. I've done it for the last, I don't know, however many years I've been in the Irish squad. It's so grim. It's so soggy at Christmas, like the rugby club, and you can't even run fast because you're like sinking into the ground. And I literally just sitting there being like, thank God.
You just didn't bother this year, or would you?
No, as in I would have done it before because I needed, I was part of the squad. Everyone's doing their fitness over Christmas. So I was just like, I put in a lot of work the early half of the season. I'm enjoying my Christmas and I'm looking forward to getting back on it now. I'll do a bike session or something, but the other thing about my foot is that I was no running, and I agreed with the physios and the coaches, no running this Christmas, only bike session. I don't mind going in to do a bike session, but literally standing out in Mallow Rugby Club, and I'd always be kind of I'm so proud of myself for doing this work on my own, but literally the other voice in my head is like, stop calling yourself, this is grim Christmas morning.
There is no upside to it.
Oh, yeah, so bad. I'm so glad that
grim is a great word to use there. It's like, there's, it was really difficult. No, grim. It was fucking grim, Tom. There's no good way of looking at it. Even going home, just sore and going, this is
covered in muck.
This is fucking miserable. Jesus Christ.
Because there'd be up downs as well. The ground would be frozen. And
fuck's sake. I'm fully in agreement that everybody. I did my water fast thing. I did the water.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't know. I felt. Do you know what I did? My eyesight got stronger. For sure, my eyesight got clearer.
Do you wear goggles?
No, I don't. But I was kind of thinking, do I need to get glasses of late? Because just the odd thing was becoming difficult to read. But then I do think writing is getting smaller on the backs of multivitamins and stuff like that.
Oh
But
yeah, to list more things.
I swear on my life, my eyesight got clearer. And my wife would never, like, 'cause she's there the whole time, and she wouldn't notice anything. But she went, "Your eyes have gotten bluer." I said, "Fuck off." And I sat beside our little fella, and our eye colour was the same. And kids' eyes are like blue as the fucking light on that thing. My eyes were hyper blue for about a good 12 hours.
What the hell?
I don't understand it. And I was a lot of water. It was a lot of water. But I took electrolytes and amino acids with it.
Okay.
Because that's what they tell you to take.
It's not just flushing you out with water and not replacing anything.
No,
it's actually
no.
Like,
and the water, I was telling you about the water I used. Jeez, I need to get you a bottle of fucking hell. Spring water out of the mountain. Actual straight out, just it's flying out of the mountain. And it tastes like no water you've ever tasted before. You go, oh,
what
that's
mountain?
the mountain right near us. About 5 kilometres from here, the start of the Galties.
So is that one of the requirements of this water diet?
He did say mineral water if you can get your rather than just the stuff that's been fucking blasted and poached and whatever else they do to it.
Yeah.
He said if you can get mineral water, there's at least some bit of life in it. And I went one better.
Up to the mountain.
I drank nearly 12 litre of mountain water.
Christ almighty.
I tell you, I don't know if it did anything for me, but it made my eyes clear for about 3 days. Right clear. It went away again. Like I'm
Going around like, ah.
But then, of course, the cheese scenario. I never asked you to follow up on last week's episode before we kick into this week's episode.
Yes.
Did you try the crispy rashers and cheese?
Fuck
You
it.
did not.
I didn't. Christmas isn't over yet.
It's not yet. It's 29th.
So
It's
sorry,
still
what was the
technically-
recipe again? The crispy rasher.
The crispy rasher, small bit of quince or whatever cranberry you want. Quince is fair
Fan
nice.
of
Like.
quince, yeah.
I like it now.
Yeah.
That's
Where can you get quince?
well, you used to be able to get it in Dunn's and Tesco as well.
Okay, I'll have a look. Might be on.
It's
special
just a pear
discount.
stuff, isn't it? It's just thick pear jam.
Yeah.
And people listen to this going, "What is this bollock saying?" He has never come out with it. This.
But did you
fancy
tell me about the quince the last time?
No, I didn't.
Oh.
I said whatever jam you want, whether it
Oh,
be
yes, okay.
cranberry or anything like that.
Okay.
But cheese and rashers rather than the
And you don't even put it on a cracker.
you don't have to. I think you could put it straight on the rasher.
Yes.
Why you already have a tray?
Yes.
Why do you need to make another tray?
So it's not a streaky rasher.
Oh, jeez, it does work well with streaky rashers, though. That's the thing.
I thought you were going to be like, no. I was actually afraid to ask that question. So I'm
No,
glad
streaky
now.
rashers do work.
'Cause
They do.
I feel like Irish people, streaky rashers aren't as Irish as
no.
back bacon.
Which is essentially,
shaped.
it freaks a lot of people out when they come here because they come with a notion, especially Americans, they're like, I'll have bacon and eggs or whatever. And they go, why did somebody cut a bit of a pork chop?
That's what it is.
It looks like somebody sliced a bit of a fucking pork chop. To me, they're like, I don't understand this. And you know, especially if it isn't fried, it comes out of them convection ovens and it's just kind of
Yeah.
fucking...
But I feel like a rasher is the thick one. And I would say bacon for the streaky one. I don't like using the word bacon instead of rasher because I feel like rasher is like, belongs to us. Like,
Jeez, that's very patriotic. I think you're right, actually. The Guinness... Yeah, we're drinking Guinness in an Irish pub. You're home in Ireland. You're right. Fucking
but I
rasher.
don't drink Scotch whiskey because of what the Scotch whiskey industry did to the Irish whiskey industry.
Oh, Jesus Christ. We're about to get a history lesson here from
No,
on
that's
Food
not
Tour.
the time because I'll launch and we won't like, the crowd will be.
There is a vague part of a little file has just one of them old metal ones like inside an old solicitor's office has just opened inside my head, and I have a funny feeling you may or may not have, or I've heard something. There was some scrupulous carry on by the whiskey industry back in the day.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll leave it for another podcast episode. We are probably we're 20 odd minutes into this.
Oh, sorry, has the podcast started? That's every week though. Every week there isn't even an intro. It's just like
There's no.
it's just like call. The Zoom comes on. It's like press record quick because we're just gonna start
This
chatting.
is one of the few times, and if anybody does wonder, Anna still to this day, true to her word, even if she doesn't, we don't have our cameras on. True to this day, she never has Anna Capeless written up on the oak. She she has some bollocks. Always funny. It was like you were Jack Niebar.
No, do you know what? Do you know how it started? The very first Zoom call. The very first Zoom call, we'd been talking about other rugby podcasts, and we mentioned a few other names, including Alan Quinlan. And so then the very first Zoom, I was like, and I changed my name to Alan Quinlan. You wouldn't accept it because you're like, how did Alan Quinlan get on this phone call? I remember your face, like, it takes a little time for like the thing to pop up, and you're like, and then when it was my face, you were like, Jesus Christ!
Because it was
Alan
highly
Quinlan.
possible. Like, well, how's it going? How well? It's fucking depressed the life out of me.
So since then, it was like,
and that's since the very first one, and every single week, it's either fucking something funny. It's somebody's name mixed with something else, or
it's usually a theme of the week of something we're going to talk
oh
about.
yeah,
like,
yeah. You were Eddie Jones there for a couple of times.
Oh, Eddie Jones, Finn Russell.
You've been Faf de Klerk.
Oh yeah. Van der Merwe.
Van der Merwe, yeah. You've been a few, and I can't jump on the bandwagon and start changing mine because it's your thing.
Okay.
It's your thing. I couldn't. You couldn't. I know when a joke is a joke and it belongs to somebody else. No, that's yours. Let's kick off the fucking episode.
Oh yes, yeah.
In front of our live studio audience here.
Welcome everybody.
We've got 100 empty chairs, which is perfect. But this is the practice run. You have to do a practice run first before we actually invite people in.
Yes.
Let's kick it off. So we are going to. This is a year in review. Really, is the way we're going to do it. Possibly with a tiny look forward to the year coming up, because we're not quite there yet, but it's the perfect time to do a year in review. It's just after Crimbo and it's just before New Year's. And the fact that we've been going since your voicemail on New Year's Eve or New Year's Day, when you had an epiphany, a come to Jesus moment, a fucking give Tom a message moment of about 17 and a half minutes, and said, let's start a fucking podcast.
Because it was one of my New Year's resolutions last year.
And from the get-go, it was in no way a struggle throughout the entire thing. It was like, oh yeah, we've got loads to say. Aside from rugby, we've got loads to say anyway, so this has been a very easy podcast. What do you want to kick off with, how we're going to run through the year? What do you want to kick off with first?
So, we came up with a little bit of a plan. I'm still here making notes of...
We're going to get through almost none of your notes, you know that. Like.
Yeah, I just remembered another pit. But it's gone from my head now. It might come back to me. The layout of this evening. Because I always like to do peak and pit, as you know, and we will tonight. We shall share our peak and pit, but our peak and pit from the year. So we're going to start with our pit, so that we build up.
Yes, perfect. Yeah. Let's take them down before. Let's break them down before we can build them back up. Yeah.
There were a few pits. We'll then talk about our players of the year.
Yeah.
And then we'll hit our peak.
Yeah.
And then we'll talk about our hopes and dreams for 2024 and the next rugby season.
Absolutely beautiful. That'll run lovely. Do you want to go with your pit first?
Fucking hell, there's a few. Botulism.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that was for me. That wasn't a pit. That was a fucking Jesus.
It is like two sides of the one coin. There is a peak and pit there because it was. Holy moly, that was a serious moment of... I don't think I ever was closer to thinking I was going to die or be seriously ill or injured.
Absolutely, unequivocally, you would have been banjaxed for... I can't remember... What do we call that episode? If anybody missed it and kind of went, what the fuck? Oh. The episode is called something Chin Chin, was it?
Win-win, not Chin Chin.
Win-win, not Chin Chin.
Because Chin Chin was the name of the wine bar.
Yeah. And for anybody going, I've just tuned into this and this sounds like great crack. Anna was in Chin Chin, in La Rochelle.
No, in Bordeaux.
In Bordeaux.
It was in Bordeaux after the Romania game.
Yes.
And that bar closed down on the Monday. And we were there on the Sunday after the Romania game in Bordeaux.
Because somebody had died as a result of botulism from, what's the sardines?
The sardines.
Pickled sardines.
Yeah. Home cured sardines. And I actually met people only recently of good friends of people who were really badly affected by it that were that are like had to relearn how to swallow.
What?
Had to very serious illness, and like they're only kind of coming out of it now.
Do you think you're super tough and it just didn't affect your system, or
Not a hope.
did you not?
No.
You just picked out the little fishy that wasn't.
I literally
You just got so lucky from the jar.
No, the jar. I reckon, and this is like kind of unproved, but I reckon if it's bad, it's bad, and you're goose.
Okay.
I reckon it was like a game of Russian roulette with the jars, not the sardines, the jars.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Because there's someone had died, and then some other people were like seriously ill, and like I had ordered the sardines for the table. No one was eating the sardines.
You
I
were
was
that
like
guy.
to my friend Liam, who we call Lamb. I was like, Lamb, fucking sardine, yeah. And like afterwards, I was like, I would have felt so bad if I had like killed Lamb or like, made Lamb seriously ill. Like, I would have felt so bad. It would have ruined like the World Cup anyway. And I had like my friend's wedding couple and I was like, oh my God, I would have ruined your wedding if I'd gotten sick or if I died or whatever. So very, very lucky that wasn't the outcome. So I'm saying it was a pit. Sorry, the pit was the kind of the 1 or 2 nights that I lay awake waiting for some kind of symptom to come. And I remember explaining on the podcast that I'd spoken to the French health service and they were
incredible, like chopper and everything.
Because I was going away to...
Yes, to the island.
Yes, to the island. There was a tiny little island. We went on a team bonding. It's the same weekend that Ireland played Tonga and Nantes, and I really wanted to go to that game, but I went to the team bonding because, it's my new team and I wanted to get to know them and all the rest. And I said to the French health service, like, should I go to this island? Like, is that a really bad idea? It's like, it doesn't matter because we've got choppers waiting to collect any of you that start to get symptomatic.
Oh, my God. Jesus Christ.
And they were there like... Am I feeling okay? And I knew I was like, I'm okay. I knew I was okay, but my God, that was scary. That was a pit.
You dodged a sardine-shaped bullet there. That was
flippin' fact.
Anybody good artist out there who wants to draw a bullet-shaped sardine and a diving immediately past that.
Protecting lamb.
Protecting poor old lamb.
Jesus,
Holy
poor old lamb.
Jesus.
Sorry, not to dwell on it. Another bit was the maggots in my bin. I got a maggot infestation when I moved to La Rochelle.
This episode is titled Tales from the Brown Bin, I believe.
Oh, yeah. And then getting locked out of my fucking house.
Oh, my God.
And so I actually was down at a rugby match today in Musgrave Park, and people that I don't know were coming up to me saying, did you get your jacket back? And your keys. Honestly, the whole of Leinster was following, and I was blaming everyone in Leinster for having taken my keys. And there was one French woman in the whole pub, and she was the one who took the fucking keys.
Was it? Oh, we never found that out.
What? I didn't tell you.
You didn't. You just said after the podcast you were going,
sorry.
right, listen, we'll wrap it up there, Tom, because I have to go down now and fucking see who dropped my fucking...
Oh, sorry. I had told you that. It was a woman that we'd seen on the camera. And I was like, I think that's my jacket. And the one was like, no, I don't think so, because, she wouldn't do something like that. And, like, she obviously wouldn't, but it was completely by accident. But she obviously waited till her 2-day hangover was over to come back with it. Like,
what a dose of shit. Was she apologetic?
Not at all.
Pure French.
I took the jacket.
What am I like?
Here's mine. See you later.
You bollocks.
She came back in with her kids. So she obviously was minding the kids the next day. I'm like, I'm not dealing with this, because she was...
Fuck.
And another pit, and then I'm done at my pits. Even though some glaringly obvious ones from the World Cup, but I'll let you deal with that.
Yeah.
Injuring my foot in Madrid. Like, I started the year playing with that team in Spain. I moved to Spain. And then injured my foot, which is I'm still having to manage. That's the saying, I can't run. So it's still the same injury of the same weekend I went to. We recorded an episode, I'd say, maybe the next day or something.
Yeah.
I had...
Your 2 sesame seeds.
The sesame seeds.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, host of pits.
Yeah. To be fair, throughout the year, especially when you work in the arts industry or the performance industry, much like tonight, there are non-stop pits. But I've developed what's known as, what I've described and other people have it, is I call it cauliflower brain.
Do you know what else we could call it?
Huh?
Pit viper.
I think we might get sued for that. But yes,
Really negative connotations. But It's cauliflower brain.
Cauliflower brain, because you just take it on the chin. You're like, well, I don't even feel that. But the only problem with that is sometimes when the great things happen, you're like, well, I also don't feel that either. Like, it's sometimes. But I will say,
Yes.
and this is I am continuing with the podcast, but I am also I am waxing lyrical about how excited when this evening show had to be pulled. For very unfortunate circumstances, it is postponed to next Friday. So don't worry if anybody's listening to this fairly regular. We are back next Friday. But I was pissed off properly with that. But then when Anna said, I'm fucking coming anyway, I was genuinely fucking... It was a peak and fucking pit.
Well, like, but that's what we're saying, two sides, same coin.
It was unbelievable. And if you learn nothing, because you won't learn much from this podcast, but if you learn anything from this podcast...
You might learn something.
It fucking in the flip of a coin, in just whatever way you look at a thing and just go catch it by the scruff of the neck, you go, we can fucking make good of this situation.
We should call them peak vipers.
Peak vipers. I was thinking sow's ear, because you're making a silk purse out of it. Look, I'm just saying. You know what? Peak vipers is actually way better.
Peak vipers. I can't find my peak vipers. They're probably called peak vipers anyway because they're. I don't think they're real. No. Someone gave them to me, so I doubt it. I think it says on the side of it, peak vipers.
When we have our first proper live in front of an audience studio, I will make sure you have actual genuine pit vipers on your face. 100%. But thunderous amounts of fucking peaks and or what do we call it? Peaks and
pits. Pit
vipers throughout the year. Do you know, like, doses of shit, like the house isn't over the fucking line fully yet, like, and stuff like that. But there never comes a point where I can find, I know where the entertainment is, and yours is always, I go, fuck this. I'm not talking about mine because it's fucking boring in comparison. Anna almost dying, and I get locked out. Like, I swear to God, I walk out of the studio every fucking Monday night, and my wife is inside making a cup of tea going, tell us all about Anna. I don't even want to listen to the episode. What happened to Anna this week?
Jesus
like,
Christ.
Literally, we could rename this podcast just fucking Living with Anna.
Anna's Pits.
Okay, that's it. There's no peak vipers. It's called Anna's Pit. And maybe Tom will have the odd Anna's Pit. But that's
Anna's Peaks. Speaking of, I was telling you, we were planning the podcast. I was like, all right, I'll come down, but I've no bra.
Neither have I. It's okay.
I know I lost my bra. I can't find my bra at home, so I've been going around the whole Christmas without any bra, which is very French of me, by the way. French don't even bother wearing a bra. But this is a sports bra.
You talk about the pits, clearly. Let them off. Don't be bothering about them. Let them good and hairy. And now don't wear a bra.
Also, someone commented on my budgie smuggler photo. I've got about 1,000 new followers in the last few days. I don't know why, but my budgie smuggler photo
resurfaced?
It seems to have. Someone commented. I deleted straight away because it's dirty bollocks. I'd love to smell your armpit in this. I was like, delete. So if I can make money off of a podcast called Anna's Pits.
Here's the thing: in all the pits you've had throughout the year, right? Say when you were desperate, perished on the side of the road, looking for your keys, trying to get into your apartment,
picking up the maggots.
You're fucking picking maggots. You're sitting on that fucking riverbank that day with poor old Lamb going, I'd say we might be fucking for it, when he was reading that article, or you're out in that island going, I don't know. To get out of that situation, if a magical person could click their fingers and get you out of that situation, would you allow that man sniff your pits?
Absolutely not.
In that moment, you're like, I'll go on. So
no, because I'm pretty good at this stuff, you know. I'm good at handling shit like this.
That's a fucking weird. Yeah, that's a weird one. Like, of all the things, I would run your fingers through your hair. I want to sniff your pits. Okay. All right. Clearly you didn't have...
people are fucking weird, though.
Clearly he didn't... You know, but sometimes I think people try to be weird for the sake of being weird when it's online.
Definitely.
Do you know what I mean? I mean, if you actually met him with Guanso, he'd probably piss his pants and not know what to do.
Yeah.
I'm going to be very vanilla in my fucking pit here. And it's quite simple. We were down for 3 weeks nearly as a result of it, and it was
3 weeks. That's an understatement.
Yeah, no, I'm not fully over it. It's almost like I've angina, I think, as a result of it. is our exit from the World Cup purely based on fucking so like not just our tires being pumped so fucking high by everybody, every pundit, and they weren't just going, "Oh, here we go, Ireland again." They were like, everybody was saying, "Going, this is a fucking different breed.
Yeah.
This is a different breed."
Genuinely, yeah.
And like I said before we even started, I knew of loads of comedians who literally were doing online videos 3 weeks out, going, "Okay, guys, so that show on whatever month it was and whatever date it was, we're gonna have to postpone that because Ireland are probably gonna be in the World Cup final."
And like we were saying this earlier when we were talking about, and one of the greater moments of the year, which we'll come to in a minute, is that final game, Six Nations. And when we came out of Six Nations, we were thinking worst case scenario for this World Cup, we're going to lose to France in a final.
Yeah.
And sorry, I don't mean to say I told you so, but I was trying to be so grounded and you convinced me to get on the boat.
Yeah. But would you have sooner, and this is almost a hypothetical fucking, this isn't as gross as the armpit sniffing, would you have sooner lived in fucking perished fucking anxiety driven fucking misery for those 4 or 5 weeks and then only to be proven right in a pure Irish way and go, "I fucking told you"?
No. And actually, no, and
does
I'm
it make the fall harder? I know it probably makes this fall harder, but fuck, we partied hard for
it made the fall harder thing. But I wouldn't have not enjoyed it as much because I enjoy it anyway.
Yeah.
But I would have had a pinch of realism a lot harder. Even though I was fucking realistic throughout, and like, I know we'll get to it, but like, sorry, we won't. We're talking about the pits now, which is the absolute pits, which was us getting knocked out of the World Cup. I was saying it from day one that we're using too much of the squad.
Yeah. You're like, listen, it's even during it. It's not hindsight. During it, we all knew it.
Yeah.
It's like when you wear the good shirt too many times. Like, you're kind of going,
like, oh, he's wearing it again.
It's still a great shirt. It's a fucking great shirt, this shirt. And then it gets to a point where the shirt starts to get a split in the fucking back of it, but it gets it too late. You're out now. And you look like a fucking knob walking around the pub with your burst bit in your fucking shirt, or the trousers, arse hanging out. And the worst is, it's been hanging out for half an hour and fucking everybody else can see it and you can't.
But the worst thing is that I saw the seams splitting.
Of the trousers.
The previous weekend.
You text me, yeah.
And I was like, those seams are under pressure.
Yeah.
Like, no, don't worry. It's a really well-made trousers. It's really well-made. And, like, we trust that tailor, the tailor.
Could you see underpants even at that far? Like, could you see underpants? Like, or was it just
If
stretched?
I could, I was in denial.
You were just covering one
but
eye.
if I looked close enough, there would have been underpants.
There would have been underpants. And probably skid marks on it too at that stage because we were. There's no way you can run, lads, that fucking hard. We said it, but Jesus Christ, they say, well, you need all the cards to align for you properly. It doesn't. You just need to know what you're doing. And the truth be told, Andy fucking Farrell or Ireland have never won a World Cup, never gotten beyond the quarterfinal. South Africa have many times. They've won it 2 times in a row, and they went mad with their 6-1, and everybody was going, "What the fuck are these lunatics doing?"
God, it was so entertaining up until the fucking quarterfinals.
Yeah. Oh, the wheels, and everybody said it. Even the non-Irish people went, well, that's the crack on out of this now.
Another pit, and sorry to go bang on, but was me coming up onto that street for the semi-final, and there was puddles and rain and South Africans, and it was grim. And the week previous, it had been full of life, like literally a scene from like Dario Gill and the Little People, fucking having the time of their lives. And then only however many days later, just a small passage of time, and it was a great, what do you call it? Pathetic fallacy.
Yes, but it was almost like a dystopian future, like you're walking across the fucking scorched lands.
It was terrible.
Dreaming about the before times.
That was a pit.
Yeah.
That was a pit.
It was a fucking pit. I mean, we had it all. We had it all. We had the capability of doing it all. But look, we just didn't get over it. And fuck it, we just didn't. And that's the fucking end of it.
So...
Yeah.
Sorry.
No. I kind of wanted to put a pit because I was literally kind of starting to fall off the seat a small bit there, lean with the fucking the weight of the fucking sadness in that. But we had so much fucking happiness, like between Zombie.
But it's good to respect all your feelings.
100%.
It'll mean a lot when it finally happens, even though we're fucked now because Fiji are on the rampage,
I know,
so we're done for.
Fuck's sake. Can we just get some steroids, please?
Yeah.
Can we? Jesus, I mean, can we just get some massive humans out of fucking, I don't know, west of Ireland or something like it's
Yeah.
Just, yeah.
That's what we need. A few farmers.
Have you seen the size of the oaks that come out of Mayo? Like, they're monsters.
Come here, a very recent pit is your absolute favourite young monster player, Edwin Odogbo.
Oh, I nearly started crying.
I thought of you straight away when I saw.
I nearly started crying.
It's like a sniper.
I've been talking to went down like a fucking shot cow. Like, just so fucking sad. Another Achilles fucking injury. Like, 21, the guy was nearly crying on the pitch, and you're like, he's so much potential, and he could. Like, he would literally be in Ireland reckoning now because it's 4 years out from a World Cup. They go, give him a fucking
get
look.
him in there.
Give him a look. But anyway.
Another very recent pit. But
that was a very, very recent pit.
We've had enough of pits, maybe. Is it time to...
Oh, for sure.
Or any other pit you'd like to address so we can do the grieving process fully?
I feel very strongly... and he hasn't... It got brushed over very quickly because he's been on the injury list for a long time. And I know... And it's not... We are not just a Munster-based podcast because we are for all of Ireland and a place in France, for fuck's sake.
Yes.
Andrew Conway needs a special mention. He kind of went... I hated that he went out, not without a whimper, but he was on the injured list. He kind of came back and then he was advised to leave. But it was for the great things and the great things he could have gone on to do if he wasn't, ravaged with injury. But he had to retire this year. I mean, Keith Earls went out in his own terms, pulling off some of the coolest shit you've ever seen a guy pull off, like, you know what I mean, doing that rolling for his 100th against England that time in the warm-ups, like. But yeah, Andrew Conway would be kind of a pit for me in the player side of things, not just because he didn't get to go out on his own terms. Like, you want to go out in your shield, like, do you know what I mean? Like, but that's where I'm going to leave. I want to keep this a positive. It's Christmas time. We're full of cheese. We've got pints of Guinness in front of us. We're seeing each other for the first time live, like two fucking dogs that have been introduced. Because one of us is the new dog in the house, and you had to come down the road to make sure that I didn't dominate this space. I had to meet you outside, just outside, because I didn't want to meet you right here on stage in case I'd piss on something.
There's a bed made up in the corner. Right.
Let's get on to it.
Enough of the pits.
Yeah.
Right. Who was your player of the year?
Okay, I have a backup. Because I have a funny feeling we're going to say the same player.
I have an Irish one and another one.
Okay, yeah, I'm going with two Irish ones. There's a few that I find it hard to have until it becomes the French, and then you look at them running, their hair is flopping in the wind. It's like, oh my God. I mean, look, straight up, I'm a huge Faf de Klerk fan, but I'm not putting him in my player of the year.
No, not a hope. And I would agree. I loved watching him in the World Cup and this year, but there's no way he's going to get Banana and Bears podcast player of the year. Fuck that shit.
For me, it can be nobody but Mac Hansen. More so, not for tries, not for tackles, not for unbelievable breaks, meters made. Getting down to his fucking kicks. Ugly grey fucking jocks.
Jesus, we should add that to the list of pits.
No, do you know what? There are moments where you're like, that's the most cool thing I've ever seen. That's a mullet in a fucking human.
Agreed.
He is a human mullet / pit viper. You know what I mean?
Peak viper.
And peak viper / wearing a pair of fucking crocodile or snakeskin fucking cowboy boots. That is what that is.
Why can I picture this so perfectly?
Because that's a human embodiment. Because he shouldn't be cool, but he's absolutely cool.
But it's because of what he does on the rugby pitch.
It's that, and it's even off the rugby pitch. He's not. It's the guy is just.
Well, no, I must say now, because I'll tell you who my player of the year was, Mac Hansen.
Yeah.
Now, I completely agree with you. He's a walking mullet. He's so cool. He's brilliant. He's wonderful. But I've got to that place where, because I just enjoy watching him play so much. Now, someone who gets a tattoo of the head coach's head on their leg.
Yeah.
That's borderline. And I saw a few comments, and I kind of had a weird feeling about it as well. Like, are you just sucking ass? Are you just being like, someone made an interesting comment about, like, if I was the winger behind Mac Hansen, I'd know that now I'm completely out of question for contention because the winger ahead of me has just got the head coach's
I would doubt that.
But I thought it was an interesting input.
Yeah,
and like,
yeah.
you know, if it was any other player, but Mac Hansen, and I said this in one of our episodes earlier in the year, like, I haven't, like, adored a player or watching one person play so much till Mac Hansen this year.
It's true. I swear to God, you remember when you were small and say, do you know, Joe Roccacoco or fucking Jonah Loma would get the ball. You're like, oh my God, you'd sit up. He's doing that where it's okay, he's not smashing people, but it's like the guy can just see gaps that nobody else seems to be able to see.
But, like, not even, well, he does look like he's trying, but he doesn't look like he's going to succeed.
It's almost that glide, that nonchalant glide that Simon Zebo has. Do you know that, like,
and Emer Considine.
Yes. It's like, are they moving fast? Oh fuck me, they're covering.
Gone. Yeah.
They're covering series.
Yeah.
It's just this weird glide that they do. Is like, well, a person needs to be in. They're in the flow state, so if they're there, because other people look like they're fucking.
Yeah.
And you know, and their skin's about to come off. But like, Hansen's face never changes.
Yeah.
He's just like, all right.
Yeah.
And But yeah, who had you as a backup? So if we had, because we've both agreed, and I think we probably had even an episode in Mac We Trust or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yes, yeah. We've frothed over him enough, I'd say, and completely deserved. So we're in agreement. Banana and Bears Rugby Pod winner.
Yeah.
Of our player of the year is Mac Hansen.
Mac Hansen.
I would like to give a notable mention to Antoine Dupont.
Oh my God, yeah. Now, for me, yeah, okay, he's incredible, and he's coming back with his incredible. For me, and this is hilarious, it actually combines and possibly one of the most, probably that will live on in, so long as Mac Hansen is a professional player, his colleagues and other players,
I know what you're going to say,
will take the piss out of him. No matter how many tries he scores, how many fucking tackles he makes, how many breaks, meters, and anything he ever done, or medals he ever wins, till the day he dies, he will have to fucking see memes of him being held up like a fucking,
literally like as if this was me going to put the glass back on the bar.
No.
And then the glass smashes on the floor.
It was just, time stood still for him in that moment where Dupont, with his power. But then I'm reading then the following day, it's like, he's got a brown belt in judo. And you're like, yeah, makes 100% sense. That because nobody can beat a judo guy when it comes to fucking throws and stuff like that. But yeah, my honourable mention was going to be, I think we all love him as well. And I think, probably he doesn't maybe get the credit in Ireland, is Caelan Dowers. That he gets abroad. Like, he could walk onto any squad he wanted, any club team he wanted, he could walk onto it. Yeah. Because they have such regard, especially in the UK. Yeah. They have such regard for him. Like. Yeah.
Great honourable mention. I actually didn't know who you were going to come out with there.
Yeah.
I have to agree. I think he's absolutely brilliant. He blew me away in some of the Six Nations games, especially. He blew me away. So great honourable mention. Mm-hmm. Is there anyone else? Faf, we mentioned Faf.
I think Faf, but I'm sticking with Ireland because I know I can't really think beyond it, but I think Andrew Porter probably, because the guy's engine is so phenomenal, and he's not getting worse. It's better he's getting.
But do you know what as well, and going back to some of our earlier episodes, like, I think it was at our maybe second episode ever, we did we call it, we were talking about cornrows and how cornrows are cool now because basically Finlay Bealham was playing so well.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
So another, front row, and then like I was just thinking back to the Six Nations and how well a lot of those players are playing. It was so exciting.
Well, I mean, and carrying it through, a lot of them, and some didn't drop off. Some did because energy levels for what your position and stuff.
Some injuries as well. Like, I'm thinking of Ronan Kelleher.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
how good he was, and then like coming back with an injury into the World Cup was tough, and like the hooker situation was tough.
I think if there was no Mac Hansen, and still Caelan Doris would be honourably mentioned, but I don't think he would jump over for me what Bundy Aki has done. And there was half an episode dedicated to the attitude change of Bundy Aki, and like he's been named in the top 5 players now. Like, you know what I mean?
Bundy, like, but we didn't really see that coming. Like,
that's what I mean. It was. Oh,
but
Jesus
before
Christ.
the World Cup, if you could imagine if they're like, okay, who was going to be your outstanding player? I don't think I would have mentioned Bundy Aki.
Nope.
And fucking fair
Never.
play.
The engine never fucking slowed down.
It was so brilliant watching him. And sorry, I'm not going to revert to the pits. I was really happy to see him play up until the quarterfinal, and I couldn't be happy for him.
Perfect. But to reiterate, as Anna said, our Banana Bears Rugby Podcast player of 2023 is the love of our life, Mac Hansen. Perfect. That's a really nice,
I think we needed that.
Yeah, that is actually,
That was the prize.
So moving on, what are we doing next? So we've had peak, we've had pit.
Had a good pit there. We had a good therapy session there.
Yeah.
We've talked about our players of the year. It's time to talk about our peaks of the year. You start.
I go first, and it's. I'm going to just say this out straight. I can take a lot on the chin. I can take critical abuse. I've done well in defying the petty person in me. I've grown up a lot in the last maybe 5 or 6 years. But every so often, like sneaking out an old Turkish delight or some old fucking thing you haven't eaten in years,
Right.
I don't mind letting the petty dog out every so often. And I'll go back to the URC final, and this will start to ring bells for you.
Right.
A certain gentleman caught a break and ran up the field for the Stormers in the URC final.
Yeah.
And gave a finger pointing back at Peter O'Mahony as he scored his try. Manny Libok went in over and he's pointing, wiggling his finger because he caught a fucking intercept. And you're like, you fucking bastard, Manny. I never liked you, and now I certainly fucking don't like you. I wish nothing but ill on you for the remaining fucking 70 minutes of this match. And lo and behold, I was petty, and I live by my pettiness in that because...
Fine.
What do they call it nowadays? Fuck around and find out. And that's what he did.
Yeah.
He fucked around and found it. He could, like, I remember they wanted to fine Simon Zebo a couple of years ago for doing that against Ulster.
Yeah.
And he came back and apologised, was outwardly apologetic, and everything. Said, look, it was little of me in that moment and I shouldn't have done that, but that's me being flamboyant. Manny Limbach didn't do that. No, maybe he didn't get the opportunity to do that because Munster became URC champions that fucking day, and it was when he was and I was so petty of me. In me, I still had it.
Yeah.
I hadn't forgotten it by the time they lifted that fucking trophy. I was like, fuck you, Manny Limbach.
Yeah.
And do you know what that is? That's extremely fucking Springboky South African fan of me to fucking be that petty.
Yeah.
And I never hang on to that stuff.
I know.
But it was just the way he did it. I was like, man, what are you doing? You've won nothing. It's not like this is the 79th minute, you dickhead.
Yeah.
And they went on, and it was just a little bite of like maybe something like Angel's Delight that I wouldn't eat again. I wouldn't go back to, oh Christ, but just a spoon of it. Where I'm going,
enjoyed it.
I enjoyed that now.
Yes.
Just being a petty bastard.
Yeah.
That it stuck with me, and then I haven't told anybody other than you really about it, because anybody else would go, you're a small man, Tom. You're a small man for that.
Don't worry, I won't tell anyone.
Oh, it's only going out to our millions of listeners, the podcast.
Yes, my sister and the lad that I met in the shop. I'm Shell.
That's worth it for anybody. Shout out to Gareth, who I met in the shop the other day, who's a big fan of the podcast. Yeah, that was me. I'm just petty, and but I will say, yes, okay, the overriding thing was Munster took home the first trophy in a long time.
I get it.
But it was like,
I get it. No, it's a bit sweeter when you can be like, when someone's been an arsehole in the process to you, and you can. Actually, I was chatting to someone today about that down in Musgrave Park, about like how if someone dealing with someone on the pitch, not that we were watching this happen in front of us, but like if someone's being an arsehole on the pitch, being able, and if it's not in your nature to be an arsehole, it's so nice playing rugby because you can just get them back within the rules of the game.
Yeah.
So just to turn around and win
Yeah.
is just like...
Maybe I like this. I like the story of it. He became the panto villain at the beginning of it. You didn't have to do that. Not that I was disappointed. It wasn't like one of my favorite players did it or something. It was just in that moment. I'm like, what the fuck you doing, man? You've done nothing. You've done nothing. You're not even trusted with the kicking us for the Springboks. You've done nothing yet. Like, and he didn't do it that day.
He had an interesting year.
He did. He got the shepherd's crook. But look, you gotta live with whatever that mad fucker that is Razzie Erasmus. I know Jacques Niebar was essentially the coach, but realistically, the boss was was Razzie.
Yeah.
You just gotta do it. You can't complain to him, like, because you're like, I'm going to win the World Cup, so shut up. You're getting a medal. Be quiet and take your fucking medicine, like.
Yeah.
But that was my. Yeah.
A great peak.
A great peak. I mean, it was great peak for Ireland. Great peak for Peter O'Mahony as well. Finally getting to fucking lift a trophy of some sort.
Yes.
Do you know, club side had one shag all. Leinster have gone down twice to your own club, La Rochelle, which must fucking sting to lose twice to the same team. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Munster haven't, been within an ass's roar of anything in the Champions Cup for a long time. And to take home the URC when they lost their first 5 out of their first 6 matches that season.
But it makes the losses of this season so far seem kind of not so,
I guess so, but I mean, they are
panic-inducing.
They do have 15 players on the fucking on the old doctor's bench. That's the only problem. Like, you're kind of going, well,
that's a problem.
Locks. Our problem are if we've any giant humans out there who want to just play for Munster, you could probably do it right now.
You could apply if you stand close enough to the screen.
I could actually. I'm pretty big if I stand close enough to the screen.
Just stand at the touchline.
What was your peak of the 2023?
So, the Six Nations.
Yeah.
Big peak.
Were you worried at all during the England match? The jitters came over me because we didn't blow them away during the England match. We got it over the line.
No, I was, and it kind of, that's what I suppose, kept my cynicism bubbling for the entirety of the year until I admitted to you, like, right, fine, I'll believe we can win the World Cup. But Six Nations in general, and that game against France, it was just fucking brilliant. Six Nations, like, another Keith Earl's game in the warm up. That was a real peak for Irish rugby. It was just a very wholesome moment for Irish rugby. Of course it was, and Munster rugby and him and just fans of the game and family, people and community. I think my peak, I had a couple of them throughout the World Cup with like people visiting La Rochelle and when I messaged you being like, I'm on the train at like 4:00 and
bastard, you.
And it happened a couple of times. Like I just like last minute tickets
this picture,
up to Paris.
this bizarre, like just this, like somebody who had snuck onto a train, not who meant to be on the train, and then with an apologetic look nearly at me, kind of going, I suppose I'm going again, Tom. Yeah. It's like, you bastard.
The first week was like, oh my God. And then I did the exact same thing. Second week, I was like, I just messaged her. I was like, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
And there were 2 big peaks. I would say my peak was being on the street outside Corcoran's pub, outside the Moulin Rouge with all the Irish fans. I think that was the peak of 2023.
I think we described the measurement of vibes that day. I got very woo-woo with you that day, where I was trying to cross science with actual woo-woo vibes. Where it's like when we talked about shouting at water. Do you remember that?
No, I don't.
Okay. You can abuse the head off water. Apparently, it turns black over 40 days. But if you're very nice to it, it actually builds electrons and stuff like that. But
and how did this correlate with all the people dancing on the bus outside Corcoran's pub?
I was saying that the vibes in the air.
Oh yeah.
Could it be measurable? Like, could you take a scoop of that now and shove it into the ground, and next thing, fucking beautiful daisies would grow out of the ground, like probably with shamrock leaves on it. Like, do you know that kind of like? Could you scoop that out of the air? Because if you've ever seen Ghostbusters 2, the pink slime that flows under New York is the pure embodiment of bad bastards and evil. And when it gets on you, you end up having a row with somebody next to you.
Right.
Do you know? And I'm
yeah.
wondering, is it the absolute fucking 180-degree polar opposite to that, when you were all, nobody was fucking whinging about it, fucking the price of anything, the fucking weather, the fucking pain in their fucking
Yeah, you're
arse.
right. No whinging.
There was absolute 100% pure joy in that moment. In an extended moment, like hours of moments. And
yeah, went on all night. And I was just standing there.
Yeah.
Just standing there watching people, like, then the traffic was trying to drive through, and then all the people in the cars just had to kind of get on board. And then, like, you know,
That's what I mean, the opposite to the slime.
yeah. And then this pregnant lady was driving through, and we were like, beep, beep, and she was like trying not to like get involved, and so everyone was like,
Pure
let
fair
the pregnant lady through, like, name her Mac. And and like then
Name her after a fucking Australian. Place for
I was about to say Seamus, but I was like, there's no Seamus that plays for Ireland, so just name her. Just
Andrew.
name her.
Name her Peter.
Name her Mac Hansen. Mackie. Oh my God, that's such a cute name for baby, Mackie. I'll call my baby Mackie. I'm not pregnant, by the way. Anyway,
That would have been some revelation if she just fogged a pint there like nobody's business.
but you can have a pint of Guinness if you're
Of
pregnant.
course you can. So that was you the night after. What match was that after?
Scotland.
Scotland. Yeah.
And
Zombie was fucking pumping.
Zombie lad. Zombie, when we were still in the running,
Oh my God.
was like, and the opening lines to Dirty Old Town. Do, 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 do. Sorry, the opening bars, I should say. When that came out
For
on
a second there,
stadium.
it sounded like The Godfather's opening. Just whatever way you did it, it was like we're up to Little Italy.
The opening bars to Dirty Old Town. Down, no, 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 no. Down, no, no, no. Oh, sorry. Wrong one. Wrong death of the year. Sorry.
Matthew Perry. Name it Matthew Perry.
Matthew and Shane. Two people that won't have to see where Irish rugby goes in the next year.
No, we'll have no worry about as to how the next crop of players are coming on. That was that was an amazing fucking peak. So great.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have our two peaks. My being my petty peak of Manny Libok getting a fucking big fucking pie of
And
fuck around and find out, and you're swinging
Saturday night in
swinging off a
Paris.
lamppost like walking in the rain
in the Moulin Rouge.
at Moulin Rouge.
Do you know another peak which came crashing down fairly quickly? Sorry, this reminds me of my other peak, which actually I thought was a peak and then like sunk into the ground, was when I wrote the new version of Joxer Goes to Stuttgart.
I had actually made a note about your song, and I thought, by the way, that is a tremendous fucking song. I'm reposting it again. I think it works.
It doesn't work now.
No, it
Bin.
doesn't. Yeah, bin.
Bin.
But sure, look.
It literally went like, it got hundreds of thousands of views like in the first couple of days. And like I posted it maybe on the Friday, and then Ireland were knocked out on the Saturday.
Rock.
And literally,
Yeah.
and like people were still liking it, but no one was commenting because everyone
But
knew
sure-
like the words were in the bin.
But sure, it's like trying to sell Christmas cake in January. It's a fine cake.
Sure, who sells Christmas cake in January?
But sure, there's somebody has it to sell. Do you know what I mean? Like, this is the point
No,
of it.
you're
at
right,
nothing.
you're right.
Unfortunately, these things are just hot in the moment, like. But it was a noble song, and that for me was the fact that you put so much effort and you almost died. This is what people don't realize is the heat in Anna's apartment because she couldn't have the window open because the flies had come in and ate her, and there'd be
yes.
traffic and the racket. So
I forgot that. I add that to my list of pits.
so she almost died because you had to record it a few times because it was like a 9.5 minute song. By the time it was all done, it's said and done, so, and you had to re-record it a few times and start again, and before you knew it, we got you in a delirious state singing that fucking thing because by the end you were just dancing around by yourself. It ended up being a brilliant song, but you almost died as a result. That was another death.
Another near-death experience for 2023.
Fucking hell.
Yes.
Beautiful. Right. We have had our fucking peaks. What are we moving on to next? What is
Hopes and dreams
hopes and dreams
for 2024.
Well, I mean, mine was dashed the other night because I won't say I'd put all my chips, but even though I clearly have never played in the second row, but I have such an appreciation for how games swing when you have big mobile fucking second rows, and it doesn't matter. The size of everybody else can change. Like the size of everybody else can change. You can have a monster in the front row, or a short guy in the front row, or a short girl in the front row. It doesn't matter. Everybody else is interchangeable, but you have to have big giants who have come from the land of rock and fucking eating moss and small children and the BFG, and they eat schnozberries and fucking schnazelberries, and they eat crows out of the sky because they're so huge. We have to have these giant humans at second row in the scrum. It seems to be Georgians seem to be working out very well for the front row because they're square people. We need giant totem poles, and typically we don't make them in Ireland. The likes of Joe McCarthy has come along, but we've had to bring in a few fucking southern hemisphere people. And when finally we get the likes of Edwin Adogbo coming on the other night, and he's coming on in leaps and bounds, and then boom, snap, his Achilles goes. You're like, for the love of Jesus.
So what was your hope that was dashed? Was it it for Munster or was it for him
For him. Oh, no, for him.
For
him, I want to see him on the bench against Italy. I thought, fuck it, we're 3-4 years out from a World Cup. Of course.
Yeah.
He'll go in and mill a couple of people. He'll do 20 minutes and work his hole off, make a few fuck-ups, probably still make maybe 20, 30 metres by finding gaps and whatnot. Might be get on the end of something and score a try. His confidence will be fucking boosted. He'll learn a load from being up there. And it just got dashed the other night. But that aside, I've incredible hopes for... and this is a bit out of left field. I still have an awful grow, even though he's moved for Ben Healy. I fucking hope Ben Healy does great things. Yeah, Finn Russell's great and everything else, but I'd love for him to step up because he has the capability of being the man for Scotland. Yeah, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he'll be one of their own. And if you were, as we said before, if you were to ever play for another country, you'd play for Scotland. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You'd play for fucking Scotland.
Yeah.
And you can see the easy transition. And he was a massive loss to Irish rugby. I really hope for him he does something amazing.
Yeah.
And fuck it, why not? Consider that he can elbow fucking Finn Russell out of it.
Yeah. It's funny because you're wishing that for a team like Scotland who doesn't really have the potential to win a Grand Slam.
Nope.
I wonder, would you be saying the same thing if it was gone to
England?
France.
England, or... The only thing I will say is, like, they haven't won it. It's coming. It's got to come sometime. It's got to come sometime. I don't know. Are they going to catch 5 teams in the cold? I don't know. Are they going to do that? Will they do enough on points? But like, there might be somebody. I know Finn Russell is magic, but he hasn't had enough magic in him. He can't do some of the things. There is no international out half in the world, and I said this 3 years ago when he was playing with Munster, when Ben Healy almost single-handedly beat the South African fucking B-side down in Musgrave Park in the Pistons of Rain. When he didn't get that call up that time, you knew the following day he was like, fuck this. I play like that, and I'm still not getting a look in at the development squad. Gregor, I'm on the fucking way. You know that was the tipping point. He damn near fucking beat him by himself. Like
Darth Vader.
Of course. It was Darth Vader. It was, you know it. Remember we talked about it. And you wouldn't blame him. And I'm just saying it was... I have no ill feeling towards him leaving because you can see why.
No.
And of course we have the obvious things that we'd love to see silverware back with Ireland. We have no fucking World Cup to win.
I remember being quite upset with Ireland winning Six Nations the year after we bombed out of the World Cup.
Yeah. It's like, where were you?
I was like, sure, how fucking good is it now?
Yeah.
I know it's probably a bit cynical and I probably shouldn't think that way because, winning is good. But I'd almost prefer a kind of a different vibe and just, win some big games. But, if we push France, and just some, if we lose against some good teams that have turned up well to the, if you look at England now, like they had a good World Cup, like they might be on form, and if they played well and Ireland lost, I wouldn't mind. I'm okay with them trying new things and trying younger players and starting their process for, success, the next stage of success now. I want to see the women's team winning some games, Six Nations.
Yes.
Big ask again because of how much everyone is firing into their development. But I just want to see a win from the Irish girls.
Yeah.
But good young players coming through. As long, they've got some good prep, but they can't be naive either. Like last year, remember there was the Celtic Cup Challenge.
Yes.
Now Ireland has two teams in that: a combined Munster and Connacht and a combined Leinster and Ulster. That's the game I was watching there this evening. The Clovers and the Wolfhounds. It's cool. They've got the jerseys.
Cool. That's cool.
But remember last year the Celtic Challenge Cup, the Irish team was the 4 provinces combined. They've split it now, so they've got 2 teams. They've got twice as many players to put through that, development process. But it's not good enough prep for the Six Nations like we saw last year.
Now when you meet England, like in the
likes, England you can forget about. Forget about that. Ireland playing England in what England are hoping to be a sellout at Twickenham.
My Jesus.
So it's
That's where they're at.
Big challenge for Ireland. Like they've got to now. To be fair, all the talk last year, Ireland turned up against England. And they did well. So I just want some positive news for Irish women's rugby. That's not they did well in WXV and they won WXV 3, but it's a bit like it's a bit
Is it bittersweet in a way? It's like
bittersweet. Oh, definitely, because good, well done. You took your chances. You've done the job at hand, but it's not where we want to be.
No. Do they get an opportunity? How did they get up to X2 then?
It'll depend on the results of the Six Nations.
Okay, right, yeah.
So the weird thing about WXV is that by winning it, they opened up a place for another European team in WXV2, but they have to then qualify for that place.
Okay. Oh, right.
Yeah. It's weird. It's funny. All of the journalists were arguing online about what it actually meant, but it's kind of confusing. But we'll take it as it comes in terms of Six Nations. I hope there's some positive news. There's a new coach in. They're off the back of some success in WXV. Good players putting something good together. I just love them to beat.
Oh.
I'd love them to beat Wales more than anyone
else.
else.
Yeah.
I'd love them to beat Wales. Now Wales are in WXV 1, so that was a big jump in what they were preparing against.
I can I be optimistic? I don't know. I mean, as you're kind of sucking through your teeth, going, they won what they won, and sure, look, we can only hope for the best. But what I would like to think with a new coach coming in, who knows? But at the same time, you can't fucking gauge nothing. It's nearly like going to the Gaeltacht up the fucking road and you're going, oh yeah, sure, I met loads of girls. They were all fucking pure class. You wouldn't know any of them. Sure, you're like, did you? He sounds like a legend. But sure, we didn't meet any of them. I know they're pure class. They fucking were mad about me. Sure, the whole lot of them. Sure, they were fighting over me and everything. And then you go into your own school and all the girls think you're now pure dark.
Yeah.
You're like, fuck's sake, I'm pure dark.
Yeah.
My very infantile analogy is that we know nothing till we get a good fucking suck of this one. Do you know what I mean? And if we can fucking...
Just what I was saying about the World Cup.
I know. And this is a dreadful thing for fucking anybody who's supposed to be talking about or get opinion, because people listen to this to get our opinions on it. But we do want to see...
Do they? Because I'm like, forget opinions. Everyone's opinion is shit. You're wrong. Don't be hopeful.
Do you know what I want to see? I want to see... Did you ever hear the reasoning behind why they reckon the Romans never tried to conquer Ireland? First of all, they said, okay, financially, would it make sense to get over there? Because the whole phrase came, from hell or from hell, or go to hell or to Connacht. I was like, well, yeah, if they were in England, why in fuck's name would they go all the way to fucking Galway or Mayo first? Like, why would you get that far and go, there's only bog and rock here. You passed all the good stuff in between. The other reasoning was the likes of these fucking savages that they met. And they met these fucking savage fucking warlords that were dotted all over the place. And they said it just wasn't worth the guerrilla warfare hassle. This place, it's covered in fucking trees. And everywhere we look, there's fucking maniacs. And one general apparently came back who'd been out there with a couple of centurions to do a bit of a recce. Met this women who had sharpened their teeth down. These Midlands women, apparently, who had sharpened their fucking teeth down into spikes for war. And that's their own whole purpose in life was to fucking kill people and bite their fucking noses and faces off. And this is what they were doing to their kin and people who lived on the island of Ireland. And the Romans went back and went, if their fucking women are like that, we have no hope. Like, that's the starting point. Like, because we normally kill the women and children first, or round them up and make slaves out of them, and then kill off all the men. The fucking women are the most dangerous things we've ever fucking seen. Fuck that place. Thank God there's an ocean between us and this conquered place, England, that we have. Let's stick with that. And that's kind of what I'd love to see the Irish women. I want to see. I don't want them biting nobody's noses off because that's apparently against the rules. Not my rules. I'm just saying I'd like to see almost
Irish
controlled
women's rugby.
violence. I want to see so much aggression from the women's team. I'm not saying it has to be built up and we'll fucking show you. I want to see controlled. Yeah. I want them to be actually feared. If for nothing else, you're going, fuck, do I want to play Ireland?
Yeah.
They fucking hurt every time. Yeah. It's like when you play Georgia or Fiji.
You know it's going to be a slog.
It's going to be, we might get them on the scoreboard, but fuck me, we're going to know we played them yesterday. I don't want them rolling over. I want them to hurt every fucking opposition they come up against. Like. Yeah. That's what I'd love to see, where you're going, oh, great, there's girls out there fucking cutting people in half. Yeah. Love it.
Yeah.
Because you can fucking hook your wagon to that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you know what I mean? You can go, yeah, we're violent. Great.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I like that story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God, I'm a long-winded fucking
maybe
raw
they should
macer.
sharpen their teeth before the Six Nations.
You can get gum shields that make it look like that already.
Oh, you can.
They should all get them. They should all get them. They look like pit bulls, like little spiky teeth. They should all get them. Peter Stringer used to have them. Made him look terrifying. Yeah.
I feel like when he played in Sale.
Yeah. He'd a spiky one. Why not?
It was a Sharks thing.
It's a Sharks thing. There you go. Well, look, why don't we bring back... I'm not saying... Gráinne Whale was a pirate queen, was she?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's find some... the Banshees. That's what they should be called.
Banshee bones.
If you have the red roses for fucking England, we should call them the Banshees.
Yeah.
And just have these 15 terrifying fucking women.
On that note, do you want your Christmas present?
I'd love my Christmas present. Oh, Jesus fucking Christ. I feel like such a scumbag. I didn't bring anything. I'm like, I brought you to my comedy club and told...
Absolutely. And then I came with the no, it's not this.
Tom, the landlord's fucking drill, which is amazing. He leaves stuff everywhere. What?
I actually wanted to get something else, but I couldn't find it. I was actually looking for something, but I'll send it to you someday. When's your birthday?
Oh, not till September.
Oh, I knew that. We have the same birthday. Or we have the same birthday in the same week.
Yes, we do. You're the 14th, are you?
I'm 13th.
13th. I'm 21st.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
I feel like I knew that before yesterday. Anyway, I'll send it for your birthday, because I think you should have something on the shelf in your studio to commemorate us.
100%.
Well, I've been looking for it and I couldn't find it. So this is what you have to do it. This, by the way, the bag. I know a bag, so I found it outside. It's a dog shit bag. that was out hanging to the pole when I got out of my car. I was like, perfect. I'm glad I parked up the hill on the flat because I was able to get a bag as well. It's a very advanced shit bag. It has like
they're all over those things are all over the town.
Turn it, toss it. What's it called? Shit.
It's something mitt. It's like
it's called mutt mitt.
Yeah.
I thought it was called shit. Anyway, happy Christmas.
Oh, tremendous. Hold on, what have we got here? Oh my Jesus. This is a combo of so many good fucking, and there's like, this is a story in itself. So obviously, of course, we have a banana. Tremendous. Because, of course. Oh, here. Fanta pineapple? I haven't actually seen it in a can yet. Do you think it's as... I don't know.
Hang on, wait.
Have you got one as well?
After I bought us some lilt and then my mother drank it. Do you remember that?
Yes, you were fuming. I can't believe we brought our own drink to a pub. Be all right. Marie won't say it. God bless her.
Right, let's see. Live tasting.
Oh, I smell it.
Initially, I thought we were on the same boat. However,
I'm trying to I'm trying to think of a rugby analogy here. Do you ever watch? You know, you watch these movies, right? And you're flicking through Netflix. You're like, is that what I think it is? Is that the Terminator? But then it's a Bollywood version
Terminator.
of it. And it turns out, I think even our camera has shut off at this stage. We're still recording anyway. Everything's recording, so these other two are recording, so that's fine. Do you know and then you realize it's the Bollywood version of it. Have you ever seen that? Like there's a rugby movie.
There's a rugby movie, yeah. So you think you're watching Invictus.
And you're expecting fucking Jonah Lomo to be on there, and it's Matt Damon running around.
I think he wants us to win the World Cup. And it's like, I think he wants us to win the World Cup.
And that's literally what the version between this and the Totally Tropical Taste.
Fanta and Lilt.
It's not totally tropical. Do you know what it is? It's not a totally tropical taste, like in the same way if you ended up in the West Indies and we're drinking ding ding ding, steel bins. This is a good weekend. In fairness, I still like it. I would still happily drink that on a long journey. But it's a good long weekend in Ennis with no steel drums, and all the music has gone away for the winter too. But it's a decent fire.
Yeah.
It's not the West Indies or not Jamaica, but it's the sentiment. There's an awful lot of sentiment in you bringing this, to be honest with you.
Well, yes.
If I bought that all by myself in a petrol station in Athlone, I'd be fucking fuming.
Yes.
But the fact that you brought it means so much more.
Now, there you go. I'm enjoying it, but it's not as lilt could be.
Now, you didn't finish there. Possibly, I don't know if we mentioned these. We probably mentioned these.
Yes, you did.
Do we mention them on the podcast? Because we definitely talked to each other about them.
Oh, I see. I'm not sure.
It's a bag, and these will not make it till the end of the I swear to God, these won't make it.
Do you know what's terrible is that I bought you 2 bags, but when I heard it was cancelled, I ate one of them.
Of course. To be honest with you, I wasn't even going to offer you one.
I've had enough squashies.
So this is a bag.
I was going to say hold it up to the camera, but the camera's dead.
It's a bag of drumstick squashies that we both have agreed on. I think I put up a bag of them, or one of them or something, that I genuinely, or something, I said, I think I could genuinely eat these with there'd be no limit to how many of these I could eat. There's no measurement. Yeah. Out there, and you went. I completely agree. These squashies don't make sense. There is no volume where I would stop. I would die before I would stop eating these.
You could say you're a bottomless pit. Let me have a sniff of your bottomless pit.
I'm glad I shaved.
Shaved what?
My bottomless pit, whatever it is.
I don't know if you're talking about your arsehole or your fucking armpits.
It's a metaphor. I don't know what we're supposed to...
Usually you don't have to shave a metaphor. Anyway, I'd recommend laser.
Veet. I'll start with Veet. I'm not brave enough to go under the laser. We'll see where we end up.
I'd say what? On that note.
On that fine note, it all came in a dog shit bag, which is it is so
the
pointless.
Sheet and shit.
Wow. The shit bag. That's so fucking perfect.
The shit mitt.
On that beautiful note, this has been, I don't even know if this will get an episode name. I don't know if even needs it. It'll be finally live, I think. Finally alive. Alive, oh. So wherever in the world you will be, this has been the very first and not the last live episode of Banana Bears Rugby Pod.
I'm going to improv here.
Yes, please.
It's not in an airport. It's not in a cupboard. It doesn't have maggots. And it's not in the studio. We're in the hill for the first time. Because it's the Banana Bears Rugby Pod. Woo! Something wrong with my ukulele.